As you can see, mostly green. I'm sure you are delighted. 3 days of gains.
It's amazing. We haven't seen that in a while, have we?
Absolutely. And again, unprecedented moves. It seems quite a bit of intervention. And again, we're starting to see a reversal in sentiment at a time where we really need it most.
I don't know how long it's going to last for. I just think the main concern is just this volatility. I haven't seen anything like it in my career, literally the last couple of months. Unbelievable.
Not even in 2008.
Well, 2008, there was consistent downtrend. You know, here we've got 2% up, 1% down. It's literally a roller coaster at the moment. So I'm not looking too deep into anything currently, because tomorrow it could continue upwards or it could be down, just depending on how people feel. But important day today, futures close out, massive volume coming through. Some strong buying as well. And what was interesting to see is after the futures close out, markets still held up. Usually what happens during this period of time where we have such uncertainty, after futures close out, volume decreases, the sellers come in again, markets pull back. So the markets actually carried forward, which was quite interesting to see, and a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel there actually. So I was quite excited about that fact.
Okay, so I mean, with futures closeout, 17 billion rand. I've actually seen higher futures closeouts with regards to
I think one of the highest was 24, 25 billion at one stage.
So we're sitting at 17 billion or so.
Still a good day. Yeah.
Still a very strong day that has come through. And again, we actually saw before this week that we started to see much lighter volumes. And again, until we saw some kind of resolve or rhetoric coming through again. And I sound like a broken record from the US and from Europe. And when are we going to actually see this resolve, Nicholas?
Sure. It's a question I actually asked my colleagues today. I was like, guys, when is this going to stop? And the problem is that the issue is continuing, and it's getting not worse, but it seems to be stuck in a little bit of a rut at the moment. And this Greek issue is just going on and on and on. And then there's another bailout, and then there's another discussion. And now it's September next year, we will find out if they're going to go bankrupt or not. And that fear is in the market. And unfortunately, I think until we get some resolution, specifically on Greece, because Greece is the whipping boy currently in the world's economy, maybe we'll see some resolution after that. But unfortunately, I don't see any meaningful resolution for the rest of this year and into next year.
Let's touch on some of the corporate activity today. Nicholas out with results, made a dividend of 36 cents per share. The catering business looks quite weak at this stage. They are restructuring. What is your sense with regards to this?
It's not a company I know very well, but I had a look at their results. It's not a company that we hold. I don't find it very exciting, but it wasn't a bad set of results under fairly difficult circumstances. I mean, if you read through the outlook, they're also incredibly cautious about the future, but Protea coined it very well, as well as I think the division is TFMC. I think they got that huge big contract with Telkom at the moment, also doing incredibly well, but the food business, unfortunately not. I wouldn't really liken them to Bidvest just yet, but you never know. I would still keep track of it, but it's not something I would want to include in the portfolios at the moment.
Okay, let's look at some of the gainers and losers today, and let's start off basically with the industrial stocks behind us. Naspers is up 1%, Bidvest gaining around 1% in today's session. So broad-based buying. Truworths, interestingly enough, up 2.5%. Strong movement to the upside for Vodacom as well, gaining 2.5%. So a strong day all round. Can we take cognizance of these numbers and say, well, this is based on fundamentals or not?
Well, I think what is interesting is that there's definitely been some kind of sector rotation out of resources. I mean, I've always harping on about how I find resources so attractive, but it's actually hurt us a little bit in the short term because we've seen financials and industrials really outperform. And I think that is the whole idea, where we are concerned about the world's economy and we have such volatility in resource prices. Resource shares tend to take a little bit of a pullback, and we see that money being redirected into such companies as Richemont and Naspers, which, I mean, incidentally are great businesses to get involved in, and still, quite frankly, from a longer term perspective, offer good value. But you could argue that Truworths and Vodacom are a little bit overvalued at current levels.
Sasfin up 2.5%. Impala Platinum up almost 3%. Of course, good news that perhaps the woes are over in Zimbabwe.
I don't think so. I think I was reading it a couple of times because I didn't really understand it, and it basically says that the cutoff period has been extended. They're going to review it again on, I think, the 15th of November. So it's not out of the woods yet on Impala. You know, that Indigenization Act is still in the system, and we've seen that's probably why Impala and Amplat's share prices have come down lately, because they've got a large interest there. And I think once we get resolution on that, which we haven't received yet, they've just said they've extended it out a little bit further, then we'll get some idea.
Very quickly, Investec Limited up 1.5%, Investec PLC up 1.5% as well today. Again, we heard Stephen Kossov talking about he's not worried about a recession coming through in Europe. He's actually quite optimistic. Well, he says that things are going to be resolved.
Well, look, I guess I feel exactly the same way. You know, the proof will be in the pudding, I guess. But having a look at those results that they released today, very flat earnings. I think banking stocks in general, you know, specifically your investment banks, are struggling in this kind of environment. So again, I'd rather be investing in companies that are making money at the moment than companies that are just getting there.